How does one leave a mark on others after they die? Quite the conundrum, right? In the case of Cyberpunk 2077, I'd like to look at two characters and the legacies that they leave behind. Oh, and spoilers for the whole game. The two people in question are player character V and Johnny Silverhand. These two are the conduits for the player to delve into the world and story that is Cyberpunk 2077. Player character V starts off as a person who wants to become a legend with their partner in crime and best friend Jackie, which ultimately leads to Jackie's untimely death, and inadvertently V's, but that kinda depends on the ending you choose. V does everything in their power to prevent their death, and on that journey they end up changing a lot of people's lives for the better. Johnny Silverhand starts off as a ghost in V's head, who wants nothing more than to get out. And once Johnny realizes that's not possible, he takes advantage of the situation and attempts to reconcile with all those from his previous life. Now, V and Johnny don't change overnight. It's actually quite a long journey, and throughout it, we as the player get to witness and experience some amazing storytelling. This is how Cyberpunk 2077 made me question legacy and come to grips with my own mortality. After V learns that they are going to die because of the chip in their head, they do everything in their power to prevent it. On their journey to prevent their own death, they help numerous others with their own issues. Johnny initially is very apprehensive about wasting time and helping others while your life clock is ticking down. But as the game progresses, V and Johnny start to change each other. V learns more about Johnny and vice versa. A key moment of these two opening up and bonding is when Johnny asks V to see his grave. While driving there, I was expecting a massive altar dedicated to the punk rocker Johnny Silverhand, the man who nuked Arasaka Tower and gave the biggest middle finger to the corpse ever. But upon arrival, I was just as let down as Johnny. There was nothing. Just slabs of metal in a dump. In this moment, I can only imagine what Johnny was thinking. The myriad of emotions that flooded his brain, or data? I don't really know how the engram stuff works, but you can hear the pain in Johnny's voice as he talks.
A marker. Something. Anything.
V sits down with Johnny, etches his initials on the metal, and they just talk. This is a moment that those two so desperately needed when they finally connected emotionally. And as a player, I was all in. Before this, I didn't like Johnny that much, but I knew there was more to him, and I just needed to see it. In this moment, I truly empathized with Johnny. Seeing his own grave made Johnny rethink everything he has done up until this moment. He realized how his previous life created a skewed legacy, and he wants to set the record straight. I told Johnny he was the guy who saved my life, because he did. His engram brought V back from the grave. How apt it is that Johnny revived V, and now V revives Johnny. Now reinvigorated, plans to make things right with his friends from his past life.
Absolutely. Thanks, V. Of all the heads I could have popped up in, hella glad it was yours.
Later in the game, V passes out because their body is failing. Johnny takes control and brings V to a hotel where Johnny's life changed forever. Previously in Johnny's life, he spent a month in this hotel contemplating what he wanted to do after he deserted from the Mexican conflict. He left the conflict because he realized his life was worth more than fighting for a corporation. In this room, Johnny gives V the dog tags that he received from a fellow soldier who died for Johnny. Because for better or for worse, these two are with each other to the end of the line.
I would. Yeah.
With Johnny giving V these tags, he continues the selfless act of sacrifice that his fellow soldier committed during the war. And Johnny promises to get wiped so V can live. The tags are proof of his promise, the promise of his selfless act, his self-sacrifice. Johnny accepts his new form of mortality, and he realizes that one selfless act is sometimes all you need to create a legacy for yourself. And this made me realize that's exactly what I've been doing as V. I've been helping so many people around Night City. I helped Pan Am realize her self-worth as a leader. I helped Judy find herself amidst a sea of confusion and loss. I helped River solve a case and pick up the pieces of his family. The list goes on, and all these people helped V a tremendous amount as well. As Johnny, I got the band back together for one last gig. I finally opened up emotionally to Rogue instead of pretending to be a tough guy all the time, and started the process to heal some of those 50-year-old wounds that Johnny caused. All these selfless acts accumulate to create the foundation of a legacy that will be known for years to come. But before all that can happen, V and Johnny still need to deal with the chip in their head, which leads me to the last mission of the game. So we did the thing, we blew some stuff up, and we got into Mikoshi. Then Adam Smasher shows up and he kills Saul. Rest in peace, Saul. Smasher is the antithesis of everything that V and Johnny stand for. Smasher thinks empathy and emotions are weaknesses of humanity, which leads him to become the terrifying machine that he is, renouncing his shreds of humanity. Ultimately, V comes out on top and proves that connecting with others and being open with your emotions is not a weakness, but it is true strength, and it is one of the most human things you can do. After V, Jackson, and Mikoshi, they are transported to a familiar building and ascend to the roof. Along the way, they see a familiar cat, or possibly a Bakaneko, which is a cat that can bring the dead back to life. metaphorically representing V and Johnny's resurrection. The necklace sports the bullet as a medallion, and this is the same bullet that killed V towards the beginning of the game. All of this acts as a reminder of V's mortality, and a reminder of how far they've come since being reborn. V then plunges deeper into cyberspace. A foreboding score reverberates as Alt announces the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot, all while V pushes forward to meet with Johnny and Alt. And this is when you learn V and Johnny were already split when V jacked in. And here you also learn that V will die, even though Johnny is removed from their head. V yet again has to come to grips with their mortality. Johnny takes the initiative and assures V that they will get the body. Johnny will go deeper into cyberspace with Alt. V and myself wanted a happy ending for everyone involved.
A happier ending for everyone involved.
Here, for folks like us, wrong city, wrong people.
Johnny says this as if he knew there wasn't going to be a happy ending, but I feel he truly did want one. I think he said it to V to make it easier on them, to ease the pain of the sacrifice on both ends. V's apology to Johnny for taking the body hurts to hear, but it's bittersweet. V enters the well. Johnny puts his hand on V's shoulder and says,
Goodbye, V. And never stop fighting.
Such a loaded sentence to leave us with. It can mean so many things. Never stop fighting for your life. Never stop fighting for happiness, for freedom against the oppressors, against the corpse. V looks over Night City one last time. Panam and V leave with the help of a few other Aldecados, whom V also helped during their journey. As you and Panam leave, V finally gets to breathe free. As the credits roll, we get to see a majority of the people V helped during their journey. They all call to check in and let you know how they're doing. The selfless acts V performed will forever be remembered by these people, solidifying V's legacy as a kind and giving person. Johnny's self-sacrifice will be remembered by V and possibly others if V, Panam, and Alt tell the world. If Johnny Silverhand, the personification of childish chaos, can change others' lives for better, what's stopping us? It's never too late to become a better person. And it doesn't have to be in the hopes of creating a legacy, but just hoping that your act can make another life better. We're only here for so long, and we might as well do some good while we're here. See you later. And never stop fighting.